What's up, enduring actors? Marlon Hargrave, the great Marlon Hargrave, joined by my super duper co-host,
Hey,
Shanette.
what's going on, y'all? So, it's been a while. Check the new do. We don't went natural on y'all, but anyway, not that's not the topic. That's not the topic. Anyway,
Yeah,
welcome to Endurance, y'all. Welcome back to Actors Endurance with the dopest host in the game. Put some great on his name. Marlon, we got a great guest today though, don't we? Oh, do we got
yes,
a great guest?
yes, we do. This guest here, we go back, we DC boys, so we go back to when I actually had hair up here and black hair down here. So that was a long time ago. But at
Okay.
any rate, I'm proud to bring you my boy Cetre Pegues. I mean, he's done work with the Discovery Channel. He's done work with National Geographic. He's worked on a Spike Lee, Darren Grant. I think one time he directed. Um, oh my goodness, Monique. Monique, yes, yes. So he's been around the block. He's got a couple of projects out right now. Very, very happy to introduce super duper director. We worked together before too, but my boy director editor, my man CG Pegues. What's up, brother?
Nice.
Man, what is up? It's good to see you, and thank you for that intro, man. I appreciate that. I
Uh,
appreciate that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So this is Actors Endurance, and our biggest question right now is how have you endured throughout your 20 plus year career? I think it's more than that, so I ain't gonna give our grades away too much, but how what was the process or how did you get to this point? How did you endure?
Perseverance, never giving up. That's the main ones for me, honestly. You have to have a spirit within you that just says, "I'm gonna stop," and I adopted that early on, and I just stuck with that. And I told myself, no matter what happened, and you're gonna hit some obstacles, that's for sure. You've been in the game as long as I have. You're gonna see a lot of obstacles, but you just have to make the decision that this is what I want to do, and I'm not gonna quit. And I think that's my endurance, quite honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes.
Okay, and you started off now when we met, you were doing the camera, but you were doing film at that time, but you did a lot of photography over the years too,
I did.
correct?
I did. Yes, yes. The, the beginning for me actually started with my father. My father, he wasn't a photographer, but he was an avid, guy who used to have a camera, enjoy himself, right? And him and my mom were on a safari, and he had his camera, and they were watching a herd of elephants, right? And all of a sudden, but the herd is charging them, and the guy, the tour guide's like, we gotta go." My dad's like, "Oh." And they're like, "You gotta go." My mom's screaming up, and he's still like, bang, just taking these shots, right? And it was at the last, well, depending on who you ask, my dad said he had plenty of time. Others would say, well, he had no time, but he got, the final shot, right? And I wish I could find the photo. I don't know where it is, but it's this beautiful shot of this elephant, and it feels like it's right in your face, right? Um, and so I was young when I heard that story, and I was like, "Man, my dad's a badass." That's kind of how I really picked up the camera. That was the beginning of it, honestly.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's probably where you get your endurance from too, huh? To stick with it because your dad was going to get that shot no matter
Probably,
what. That's a great
yeah,
story.
yeah. I think that was early in the contribution. Yeah, that's how I picked up the camera. Yeah, but
Oh,
yes, I did a lot of photography. I did back in telling my age again. It was no digital; it was film in the dark room and all that. So that was my humble beginnings.
mm-hmm.
Oh, now that's interesting because we have a tendency to forget about that. So when I started off, film was done with Kodak, and it was a real process. Like you had to get the film shot, you had to get it processed, you had to get it cut, like, and this was really clip and film, nothing digital. Then we moved into the chip cameras. Then it went all digital. So a lot of people fell behind when the film, when film actually left. A lot of people fell behind and a lot of people still didn't even make the adjustments when it was going into the digital. How did you endure that process? Because a whole lot of people fell off. And Quentin Tarantino won't even use the digital film, will he? I think he's all real film.
Yeah, he's
so
still
you know what I mean?
and I don't get caught up in that personally. I get the pros and cons, and I get I get all those arguments. There's passion with it for some people, I think, and others, I think it's a financial thing. And how can we get this film made? For me, I'm an indie, so sorry, film, I can't do you. I love you, but I can't do you. But that is how I started. I mean, we shot film on a 16 millimeter Bolex camera. We would send the film up to Duart in New York. I remember those days, and we would wait patiently, hoping that the transfer was good. We get it developed, we get back, and just, oh God, we got it. I mean, it was nowhere near where it is now, where you can shoot and see what you did. It wasn't that back then at all. Like you had to know how to expose. You had to really understand lighting and know how to expose back then. You couldn't just play and figure out, in 30 seconds. It didn't work that way.
Oh wow.
So actually taking the film classes, did you take photography classes? Because you have to learn lights in photography class, right?
Yes, I took photography classes, definitely. Yeah.
Okay. That's what I was going to ask. Did you go to school to learn any of this?
I did not. I was actually in high school when I took photography classes. And then I just ran with it, quite honestly. My and no two paths are the same. My path's a little bit different. I was in DC. Marlon and I did a film like way back in 1998, shot on that 3-chip camera you talked about. That's funny. And then after I did that film, I was like, man, I'm ready to go. And I just dipped and I moved to LA. And that was, that was, I didn't go out there making movies. I can tell you that right now. I went out there getting coffee for people. That's what I did. But that's the game.
Yeah, I used to tell people I moved to New York to become a waiter, and I just happened to come stumble across acting. Yeah, that was my little running joke, man. Right. That shit was corny anyway. But, yeah, so now moving to Cali, especially being East Coast. When I moved, Cali was cool, but I missed the East Coast. How did you endure your time in Cali? With it being so different, with it really hard as hell to break into the market, especially when you don't know anybody, you don't have those connections, and after 6 months, when you're the fresh person, after 6 months, you're done. That shit is done because you're old news after 6 months, and you got to prove yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. So what happened for me, it was, so I did Cali in 2 parts. I went out there, gosh, I forgot the years, but I went out there earlier for about a year, I want to say. 93 to 94, around there, I want to say. Then I came back. Then I went to then I went back home, went back to DC, and I stayed in DC for a little bit. Then I moved. That's what me and Lou went back. And I can't remember the years when I was out there, but that's when I did my 10 years, the last part of it. I ended up meeting that's where I met Darren Grant, early stages when he was doing music videos, huge. And I kind of became like a sponge, if you will. And he just adopted me as like, I'll teach you, man. Like, get out of my way, but I'll teach you, But I was able to be on his sets. And I learned a lot just soaking in that information. But I didn't really understand like directing, really. I thought I did. I thought I was the man. I had done the video with Monique in it. I thought I was the man. I went out there and was like, yeah, Darren, check this thing out. And he was like, it's all right. It was one of them. It was humbling, but I needed it. It was, humbling is the word. I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. But out there, the greatest thing for my career was meeting and taking the class with Judith Weston. I had stumbled upon her. I had not heard about her, but I just stumbled upon her and I read about her. I was like, well, who is this lady? This lady is tremendous. And if you don't know her, look her up, Judith Weston. She is a directing coach. Marlon, you and I have talked about her. But I took her class. It was not cheap, I'll tell you that now. But I learned so much about directing actors. And I could say that once I took her class, I realized how much I did not know about directing, especially directing actors. And it really just refocused me on my approach. I knew the camera. You know, I had worked on documentaries for Discovery Channel. So I understood editing. I understood cameras, but I did not understand the acting. I didn't. I thought I did, but I didn't. And she was the one that really taught me that. And I have taken things that she has taught me, and I own them to this day. And she still remembers me. I love it. She has, I want to say, I'm not going to say the number because I'm not sure, but a handful of the directors that she has coached have gone on to win an Oscar. And so she really is, you know, an incredible teacher. But I want to say this real quick. I had to bring her up because, what I was saying was that I'm not trying to say that she validates, you know, Marlon. It was just hearing this man who I've known for years. You know, we're boys, you know what I mean? And just hearing him say these things, I was like, okay, well, he's gone on his journey and has learned all these things. And I've gone on my journey and I've learned my things. And I know that he knows these things now because I just studied with this woman who I know knows, you know. So it was just a great circle, if you will. And it was my boy, so it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I'll take that. I need validation. You know, I don't have that track record, so people don't know where my mind is with this, you know. But I appreciate that. Yeah, and I knew that you had grown when we talked, and you talked about what, you know, the lessons that she gave you. And to me, that's a part of endurance, the education of it. You know, it seems like the education isn't, people aren't harping on it as much, or it's not as important as the relationships, which was a little bit of a hard lesson that I learned going into this business. But the educated ones make the best projects, though, just honestly, because you already know, you know, you're ahead of the curve. You're ahead of that financial curve now, which is kind of put a little stain on our business, you know, having people shoot movies and, you know, like a feature length film can be shot in 10 days now, 15 days.
Right.
We came up, it took a whole year to shoot a film, a whole year.
Right.
And now we're down to 15 days, no breaks, 16 hours a day. That shit is crazy to me. Now, we worked on a project where we went for some long days, but is that like a normal thing now, not having enough time to really finish your projects because of budget constraints? You know, how is that affecting you?
I think it depends on the circle that you're in, and like budget is always something, but timing is also, and scheduling is also another thing. So all those factors kind of play. In the indie world, you got to make it. You try to make it as best you possibly can. Obviously, I try not to do the multiple hours wear my actors down thing. I just think that it's counterproductive, quite honestly. And that's the Judith teaching me respecting the actors, respecting their time, and finding ways. What can you do to make it work? There's always a way to figure out things within your budget. You just have to get creative sometimes and understand it. And what you said, which speaks to what you said earlier about in terms of having experience, then you kind of know, all right, well, this day I can't do something, but this day I can. And I only have him for 3 hours, but it's being able to see all that in advance. But that's what the experience comes into play. But so I don't like going back. I don't like the multiple hours. I just think that when you work someone that long, there's opportunity for disaster, if you will. And I don't want to subject anybody to that.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Okay, I have a question too, because you say that your greatest influence comes from foreign films. Like what style, genre, or can you just talk a little bit about like why your greatest influence comes from foreign films versus the US based films?
Sure. And that's not to knock any US based films, first of all. It's just that what my biggest joy came from foreign films, and I think it was because they do things differently. My favorite director is Wong Kar-wai, and if you just watch some of his early films, you just see his vision is very, very different. And I just fell in love with that at an early in my career. And so when I did, I just started watching so many other foreign films, and I just was like, "Whoa, they just do things differently." I like that. I love British television. I love how they frame in a lot of British television, and I wouldn't say I mimic it, but I kind of understand it and I like it. And it's not for everybody, but I just like seeing something different, if you will. I'm not doing it just to be different, if you will. You know what I mean? I'm doing it because it makes sense to me, and it's just a new way of seeing things, a fresh way of seeing things. Now, there's tried and true methods that we're going to see, a wide shot, a medium, a close up, whatever, right? But if you can do things differently and make it interesting, the viewer is now captivated visually by whatever it is you're doing. And I found that foreign films gave me that, and that's really what got me in it. Yeah.
Okay. So basically, just for your love, right?
Yes. Yeah. It's just for my love of film, honestly, just a way of a different type of storytelling.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I figured out, Cetre? Check this shit out. So you know that some of and I want to be careful when I say this. The reason that I don't watch a lot of Hollywood movies is because they have to sell to a mass market. And when you sell to a mass market, you literally destroy the story. You destroy it. You have to destroy the story in order for whites, blacks, people across in foreign lands and all of that, right. Because American movies, in order to be successful, have to do about 60% in Europe. So now we get these watered down things. I used to go to the Angelica in New York, and all they showed was foreign films. I think one of the ones I saw was like Water for Chocolate or something. Like, I think it was like that was the first one. It blew my mind because they were only interested in the story. They didn't care about trying to sell to everybody else. They told the true story, and it doesn't garnish the big audience, but it's a better story because it's real, it's connected, and it's not like they didn't Hollywood it. I mean, Hollywood has to own that shit. They have to own that Hollywooding shit because it's theirs. So the art of storytelling gets lost. And to be honest with you, now that this pendulum is starting to swing, we're going to get back to independent films looking like independent films again, where independent films have started to try to mimic Hollywood to make money and get notoriety. And now they've lost their true value. The independent film and foreign film had a value at one point. And right when it started to be monetary, that's when it started, or, when money started to get involved, we lost that. Right. So that's, and actually I'm going to segue in because your film, you have a short that's out, it's superheroes, right?
Correct.
And that, now I haven't seen it, but I know how you work. You know what I'm saying? And matter of fact, I'll go back before we get into superheroes. I got to say that I got to thank you for when we worked on this set. And I knew how hard it was. It was harder for me going through the arthritis. But all I remember was, director, we need you on set. I was like, shit, I need a break, man. And then, I'm just like, I couldn't, my body couldn't handle it. And he was like, man, we need you on set. And I was like, all right, I got you. But I could barely stand that day, Right. And I'm like, okay, you're not just sitting in a chair. You have to be on every single aspect of that set, like everything, and you have to be present in the moment. And I think that a lot of people, and I know that we're going to ask you to give young people some advice coming up on that, but yeah, you best believe that you're going to work your ass off. You'll work just as hard as the actors, if not harder. Yeah, absolutely. And so let's now. Not only is Superheroes an award-winning film, like it has won several awards. So walk us through. Now you're the only person that I know that has won this many awards. You're looking like Beyonce up here with this joint, right? So walk us through the festival. Like this is almost a year now, and you're still circulating. I don't know of any film I don't know of a personal film that's circulated that long. What's that like? What's the endurance of the festivals? Because I know that could be some shit.
I'll tell you. So I'll tell you. I'll give you the superhero's journey, if you will. It started off as an idea for a spec Nike commercial. That's how it started off.
Oh wow.
Yeah. You know Mario.
Yep.
His son is actually the star of the movie. He's an 8-year-old boy. And the movie is 4 minutes and 40 seconds long. Just putting that out there. But it started off as an idea for a spec commercial for Nike. Mario was like, man, let's just shoot something. And so me, Mario, and Treasy sat around a round table, just we're talking. And then all of a sudden I was like, man, what if we brought a kid in, and what if we made a story? And everybody was like, yeah. And that's how it really started off, as a spec spot we were gonna do for fun, and turned into this thing that turned into this thing that turned into this thing, you know. And I can't be more proud of it, quite honestly. It's probably my most proudest work that I've done. And I know why. And the reason is I put my soul into it. And I do mean I put my soul into that film. I was going through a lot of stuff, just personal stuff, and it was my way of tuning all that out and just focusing on the thing that I love the most. And I also had, and this is a big part of it, is that I was also responsible for this 8-year-old boy. And so it kind of changed things for me. I was like, man, I got this little kid looking up to me, and needing me to get him through this piece. Oh, let me tell you a quick story. It's a funny story. So I had rehearsed with little Mario like months prior. We had talked about it, talked about the project, what we were doing. So day one, we show up. I mean, we got cameras, we got lights, we're setting everything up. I mean, it's just all kind of, how sets are. Everybody's moving around, and I'm getting ready to shoot his first scene. And all of a sudden, you got this 8-year-old boy, and he stops, and he looks up, and he goes, Mr. Cetre, before we do anything, what is this all about, bruh? Bruh. It was so poetic for me, because I was like, one, bad director. You did not do your job, because if he should know. And that's on, and I own that, and I will own that for the rest of my life. But that was one of the biggest lessons for me, that I did not communicate to this boy what we were doing. I failed to do that. I did all this other stuff, but he never understood what we were actually doing. What are we doing? Major question that should have been answered, and I didn't answer that question. And I've got years of experience underneath my belt, and I didn't answer that basic question. So it was a light bulb moment for me, and I'm glad he asked. And so I was like, you know what? Fellas, we're gonna take about 5 or 10. And I sat down with him, and we just went over it, and he was listening to me. He's a smart little boy, and he's listening, and he goes, okay, all right. And then he was ready to go. And I was like, I gotta do that for the rest of my life. But that was the part where I recognized how much responsibility I had. Like, I got this little kid trusting me, and I got to give him everything he needs to do this, So yeah.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah.
That just made me think of that saying that you're never too old to learn and never too young to teach. Because like that 8-year-old boy just kind of taught you that lesson, and you were able to just receive it.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Mario and Treasy, that's an outstanding that's an outstanding crew. Y'all worked with me before, where I loved, that was actually my crew when I did my last project in Virginia. And I tell you, I love what you guys did. So I'm not going to say what you did. I want you to tell us how you made your pack, and how you're still working with your pack that you, Treasy, and Mario made.
Well, there was so many, so I gotta recall.
I can put you on course. When I met you, you guys had decided. Not met you. I'm sorry. When I met Treasy and Mario, you guys had decided that you were going to do a certain amount of films, and you made that as a pact with each other that you were going to finish a certain amount. I thought that was dope. what is
Yes.
it? 5 years later, you're still grinding. Over 5 years now.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Okay. We made so many. So, but yeah. And each of us brings something to the table, kind of unique. Treasy. I mean, Treasy. I don't even know how to explain it to him. Treasy's Treasy, man. He knows everybody. He loves everybody, and he is just a proponent of Black business. And Mario's the exact same way, and I don't. It's hard for me to like even put it in the words, but what happened was that we collectively worked together and collectively said, "Man, let's build something and let's do something and let's show other people that, man, you got three brothers who can do this. Let's just show that we, and we can go on and do other things, which we do. But let's show that. Look what happens when we unite and work together and get creative and check each other and let's see what happens. And it started before superheroes, obviously. It was, your film. And we just kind of kept that. And we just keep rolling, really. We haven't done anything lately. Superheroes has been doing its thing, so I've just been managing the post process of all the festivals. But yeah, man, that's kind of how we started, and we just kept it going.
Mm-hmm.
Wu-Tang. Wu-Tang ain't dropped nothing either. But when they come together, they come together. Look, listen, people be sleeping on Wu-Tang. And I thought, every time I think of y'all, I think of Wu-Tang because he was in Dallas not too long ago, Treasy. When I first got here to Austin, he was doing in Dallas. So I'm like, okay, so, this is Method Man going and doing his own thing right now. But to come back together, bro, it's a powerhouse every single time. And that's the way that I look at you guys.
It's dope because Mario always says he'll check in and be like, man, I learned this, I've learned this for the team, because he's gone off and doing his thing, and he'll say, man, I learned this thing, man. When we get the team together, let's get back, because I've learned this. I'm ready, and Cetre, I see you killing it, what you're doing. Let's get back together. So it doesn't die or go away. We just all just, life happens. You gotta do, you gotta do you know what I mean?
I think that's amazing. Because I'm getting ready to start my journey as far as like producing films, and I'm an actor, but I definitely want to start produce my own content. So I love to see and hear stories of other people doing that. How you guys are, you come together, you've created projects, you've made packs, but you're also off doing your own things. But you still come back and, like you said, you're off doing one thing, they're off learning one thing, but you all, come back together, teach each other what you've learned, and, go on and, just constantly improving. So I think that's an amazing thing.
Yeah.
So that gives me, I need to try to build a team out here in Georgia. I haven't done that yet, but yeah.
Teamwork makes the dream work. Teamwork makes the dream work. That's, if you guys are gonna ask me a question, what I'm gonna tell to the young ones, teamwork makes the dream work. That one right there. That's one of my biggest pieces of advice.
You are now watching Actors Endurance Podcast, the #1 podcast for the resilient artist.
When we get to that question, I do want you to break it down, like what that means, because you can say it, but people still don't know what it means, and I didn't know what it meant until I knew it existed, but I had never been a part of a pack with. Because remember, we tried when we were going out to Virginia Beach, we would have the meetups, and the whole deal was that, listen, let's bring all of our talents together collectively, and so that there is something in the water here, and it that didn't pan out for the area. But it did pan out for you guys. So I was happy to see something like that happen right before I left. But before we veer off too much, the journey of the actual festivals, because again, it's still in rotation. And I mean, that's phenomenal in itself. But educate me on that process. I've never been to that extent.
I will. Okay. So this is what I'll tell. I know it like the back of my hand. So once the day we wrapped Superheroes, right? I remember saying to myself, we just did something great. I knew it. I knew we did something great. I could, right? the edit took forever, and I own that because I tried to edit, and I was going through way too much in my personal life, and it sat. The movie sat for months. And so Corey has edited almost everything that I do, and I said, Corey, man, I need to give this to you. And I said, I've got a skeleton. You take it. And he looked at it, he goes, I see where you're going. I got it. Corey goes off. Magic. He sends it to us. It's magic, right? And we're like Treasy, Mario, and myself. We're like, yo, like it was just magic what he did. Like, and Corey's hats off to that man. That man is an insane editor, right? And I said to it's funny, true story. And Treasy may say I'm lying, but he knows I'm telling the truth. I saw Treasy and I said, I ain't gonna lie, bro. The first time I watched the first cut of Superheroes, I teared up. And Treasy said, me too, dog. Me too. You know how Treasy, he's like, me too, brother. Me too.
Real humble.
So let me get back on track. So what happened was after it was done and finished, it went all over the place. It went to New York for my color. Shout out to Emily Bailey. She's a beast. I'm always going to shout her out. She's up in New York at Company 3. It went to Emily for color. It went down to Rio de Janeiro for audio, the audio mix, because I could not find anybody. Yeah. Got on a project. We can talk about this later, but got on the Marlowe project, met somebody on the Marlowe project up in Baltimore, and they recommended me these folks down in Brazil, and they did an amazing job. So it kind of went to all these different places, got it back. Everybody's very, very happy. And I was like, all right, festivals, here we go. Let's just submit, see what happens, you know? And so I submitted to a good number via Film Freeway. I can't remember the number I did, but all of a sudden I was getting accepted, like a ton of acceptance, right? And then I got this email from Film Freeway that said, there are other festivals that are interested in your film. I had never seen that before, right? I started getting, and they were like, can we release, the film for them to view it or not view it, but at least, look at what I'm doing. And so I'm trying to remember it exactly because I may be off on a couple points, but at the end of the day, I had several festivals hit me up asking if they could have superheroes in their festival, and they would waive the entry fee. They just wanted the movie in it, and I was like, yeah, of course. And I never had anything like that ever in my life. It went on. I should have done a count before I got on this. I want to say 35 plus festivals that it has gotten in. And the wins, we're not at 35 wins, that's for sure. But I'm in a good percentile in terms of wins, though. We've won quite a bit. We've won best editing. We've won best micro short. I won best director. It's won all. And the greatest joy, I'm not gonna say greatest joy. What a big joy for me is that it has won across the seas. It has won in different countries all over the world, man. We won in Israel. We won in Greece. We won in France. All these different nations that we've won in. And what it speaks to, if you ever watch it, because there's very, very little dialogue. It's not a lot of dialogue at all. It's a universal language. This kid, obviously, but the film, to me, it's just universally accepted because there's no dialogue that you need to understand. It's just all visuals, and that to me is a mark of a good movie when you can just watch something and follow the story. So that was huge for me, just seeing all the wins all over the world. I just incredibly blessed and grateful for that.
Wow! Yeah, congratulations. That really is amazing.
Thank you.
Really amazing. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I am going to watch it.
It is out for the world to see, even though it's released. So it's not like one of those where because it's in the festivals you can't play it. It's not one of those. It's out, so you can just go to YouTube and watch it. So.
Wonderful. That's great.
Yeah, I would definitely check that out. And was that the Corey that worked on my set?
Yep.
So Sinette, check this out. I walk in with 3 days of shots. Corey was the AD. Corey looks, he says, I had him on my, I had one of these little index cards and shit. He was just tossing my shots. And he left me, I had like 15 fucking pages. I had like 15 little index cards and just explaining my shots. I ended up with about 7 when he tossed. He was like, we don't have time for this shit. We don't have time for this. Hey, I don't mean to take your soul, brother, but we ain't doing this shit. We ain't doing that. You know what I mean? We had my aunt's kitchen right at the countertop. We was up there throwing off. I was crying and just quietly crying. I was like, God damn, he threw away some good shots, but we couldn't do it. And I definitely understood it, but that's important, having a good team.
And what I'll say is Corey's, like I said earlier, Corey is an incredible editor. So he knows what's going to work, or what is fluff, or what's not, what can be eliminated, or what absolutely should stay. So because he edited it for so long, he sees it right away. And it in terms of like the team and team building. Like I said, Corey's edited pretty much everything I've done over the last few years. And I remember he and I had this conversation before Superheroes. He sat me down and he was like, Cetre, you're getting the performances. I'm never going to argue with you on that one. He said, you're getting this. I'm not going to argue. The shots are beautiful, but you're not giving me this. You're not getting me this. And you're making my edit hard, bro. And if you don't start doing this, I can't get you to where you got to go. I was like, bet, heard. That's what I needed to hear, because I'm seeing the big, but I'm missing the minute, you know what I mean? And so when I delivered Superheroes to him, he said, you took all my advice, bro. I see it. I see it in the work, dog. And I was like, yeah, thanks, brother. But you got to, I say that, I tell that story to say, your team is everything, man. Like they go see things that you don't necessarily see. And if you got to go, and they're going to help you, and they're going to be truthful and honest with you too, and you got to be receptive to that. That's how we grow.
Nice.
Well, yeah, and making sure that your team is the honest one. Like you got to get a team member that's going to be critical in the beginning. Like Corey didn't give a shit about how I felt about them shots. He didn't give a shit. And that's what the AD is supposed to do, and I respected it. I actually thanked him. Like, the ADs don't get thanked after those shoots.
No. Yeah, nobody.
Nobody like the fucking AD. So I personally thanked him, because I was like, look, bro, you saved this shoot. Like, you saved it with a shot, that hallway shot.
Oh, the hallway shot.
That hallway shot. The actor just wasn't getting it. I couldn't convey it to him. And Cetre stepped in. It's like, I had to allow that, because if I didn't allow it, then it gets missed. And what's the point?
Right.
So that's definitely...
That's the beauty in checking the ego and letting it go. Yeah, I absolutely had to do it. So that's, for sure.
So this is, we're gonna, what are they, how do we do the...
Well, hold on, I got to first real quick. I got like 2. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Yeah, I got 2 questions real quick. So Cetre, if right now, what advice would you give to someone like myself and other people out there that want to start producing content, and we're starting from zero? Where would you go, first of all, to or how would you try to build your team? Like, what would you try to do that? Number one.
2 layers of answers here. The first advice I'm going to give is one, you have to believe in what you're doing. That has to be your nucleus. You got to start there, and from there, everything else kind of will flow, right? But you got to have that start first. From there, you go, because that's also going to dictate what kind of content you want to produce. Which goes to my next part, which is you got to be truthful. You got to be honest. You got to tell the stories that are meaningful to you, that say something to you, to your heart. And I would say once you identify that, you identify the people around you in your circles that want to do like work, or who are at least believing in what your beliefs are. So I take a different approach granted, you got to find the talent. You got to have good people who know how to light and shoot and all that other stuff, you know. But when I liken it to when you have the passion for something, and you don't take no for an answer, the right people are they're gonna be with you. The wrong ones are gonna fall off every single time. And so you just got to start with you as a singular individual and go, okay, this is what I'm doing. Y'all are along for the ride or not? Who rolling? And if they in the whip, that's who your team is. Period. That's how I work. They ain't the most polished answer, but that's how I just keep it 100. Like who is it that's on your team that believes in you and wants to do, you know, the thing that they want to do and help you. And also, I would say, if you're looking to produce, that's kind of a leadership position, right? And you're looking to hire folks and get people to help you with your vision. Keep in mind that those folks have, especially if you're on the earlier stages, keep in mind that those folks have goals too, and nourish their goals. If you can nourish their goals, they're gonna, oh man, she's trying to help me. I'm gonna help her. You know, it's that. And I try to always remove myself from it, and think about my story first. I treat my story as like an infant. You're not gonna just touch my infant. You're not gonna just, you know, you gonna walk. You gonna have respect for my infant. You know. So I kind of start there, and the people around me got to have that same kind of respect for this thing that I'm trying to do. And you see it. You'll see it immediately. And if you kind of focus it like that, those people will gravitate towards you, or like I said, the wrong ones will fall off. So that's the long answer to that question. I hope that helps you.
Yeah, it definitely does. And then one other question too. Do you have a mentor? And if you do, how important is, or what do you think about, you know, you think having a mentor is important or not, or how do you feel about that?
I don't have a mentor now. I had a mentor early in my career. We're still friends to this day. Darren Grant. If you look him up, you see he's done I was watching some TV show the other day, and all of a sudden I was like, directed by Darren. I'm like, goodness gracious, bro, he's everywhere. He was an early mentor when I first started. He was doing. He did. How about this? He directed Destiny's Child Survivor video. That's who Darren is. Yeah, so that was my first mentor, and we're friends. We're boys. But I don't have one now. And I would say that if you can find one, yes. I think that because they can steer you in a lot of different ways, not only just in terms of being on set and working, but also the business of how does this thing work, and does this make sense? The agency game, and when you start getting into that world, like, people who've kind of gone down that lane, and you may need some help because you don't understand that lane, you never been down that lane. That's powerful.
For a small film production, who are the essential people that somebody needs to get for their team?
Thank you.
Gotcha. All right. So obviously, budget is always going to be the first question. What's your budget look like? But if we're going to just say absolutes, I'm going to say. Obviously, your DP, and he's got to have some help. And whether it's just one person who can help him move lights or whatever, he's got to have some help. So whether that comes as a gaffer or a grip or a swing, he's got to have somebody that can help him. That's how you move your day along. If you've got sound, guess what? You're gonna have a sound guy. Don't trust your cousin or Jimmy up the street. Find you a sound guy. Sound is half your picture, and you have to treat it as such. And I'm going to say that again. Sound is half your picture. I see too many young filmmakers worry too much about what camera they have, and they're not thinking about their mic. And sound is half your picture. I know you told me to keep it brief, so I'm going to try to do that. I know I'm long with it. I'm sorry, brother. So yeah, DP, someone that can help that DP, your sound guy, and a producer who can manage your work, like who can manage the parking ticket, like all the things that you're not thinking about, because you shouldn't be thinking about, because you should be on set with your actors. That's bare minimum. I mean, that's I need more, but at bare minimum, we got to have that. You got to have those, and you can be successful depending on the film and the scope of how big it is and what you're doing. But in terms of just like a short film, like get those. Those are I would say those are your bears and your actors, honestly.
Yeah.
Would you throw a casting director? Would you throw a casting director in there, or
if you can? Absolutely. And everybody doesn't have the access to have a casting director. I love them. It just helps so much. Yeah. And quite honestly, another one is, and this one gets overlooked, and I understand because of budget constraints, is a script supervisor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That's one that gets looked over. That is can be very, very important. An AD is essential. They just keep your day going, but your producers can also do that. So, if you can get an AD just to be on set to keep the day going, that's a huge, tremendous help. But like I said, if we're talking, bare bones minimum budget, then your producer will probably, take that role on.
Okay.
So,
supervisor, because why would the script supervisor be so important?
When you're on set, especially when you're on like like an ending, you're just trying to get a lot done. You're gonna miss that the phone was in the left hand and now it's in the right. You may miss that. The DP may miss that. Script supervisor isn't missing those kind of things. They're just on it for those kind of things. And those things matter. The devil's in the details. Those things matter. Those are the things that kind of separate the good films from the greater films, when you have all those little minute details. I know that's just a small example, but I have seen how much better my sets have flown because I had a script supervisor on set. And I rely on them, like, okay, where are we here? Are we saying this? Did she say that? Okay, great. Got it. But it kind of gets you back in that mindset, and they help you stay on track, if you will, because you're doing so much. You're dealing with so many different things. If somebody can just say, all right, look, you're forgetting that this scene is before she picks up the candle. You're acting as if she's already picked up the candle already. Oh, got it. And it's those, and again, these are loosely based stuff that I'm saying here, but it's those kind of things that really, really help you. And those tiny things really make your movie shine. Truly.
Yes. And they do stand out because I'm sure we've all, if we haven't seen one, we've heard about these Tubi films. And all they do is they talk about, like, wait a minute, they just got shot. But it's just always something that's just off, and, because they didn't have a script supervisor, the continuity was crazy,
Right. And I'm lumping script supervisor and continuity as you did. I am lumping the two together because that's what usually happens on these independents. And I'm also not saying all the things that script supervisors do. There's a whole lot more, but just for the sake of keeping myself short here, that's the general scope of what they do and how essential they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Thank you for saying that, because a lot of people don't give them their credit or their flowers. So that's why I wanted you to just explanation. But
I would say if you're doing like an action film or something heavy with like physical activity, you kind of want to make sure that you have some kind of specialist that understands like movement and body movement and also safety as well. If there's going to be there should never be, in today's day and age, it's ridiculous to actually have any kind of real gun on set. But even if there's a fake one, I need someone who understands guns, who can break it apart and show my cast and my crew, hey, this is fake. This is why it's fake. So because I need to make sure that my actors are relaxed and know that there's not even a chance of an accident, So if you have a specialist there, that really helps. It helps ease them, as opposed to just me saying, oh, it's safe, guys. But no, this guy does it. This is what he does. And all of a sudden now you can see the actors just like, ooh, okay, I can relax, And that's what you want. You want them relaxed. Best advice I ever got. I'll tell you real quick. Darren Grant told me best advice I ever got from him. He said, Cetre, just get them actors relaxed, man. Just get the back, just relax. I'll never forget the day you told me that.
That's a great advice.
Good old gun wrangler. We had that on Roslin's set. I remember gun wrangler.
Yep. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Had to get everybody. Everybody came into the room. He held a gun up, showed the chamber, took the clip out, showed everybody, clack, clack, click, click. Yeah, it was a whole procedure. And the only other time that a script supervisor didn't work out, I was on a set. I played a left-handed person, and she kept putting this shit on the right-hand side, and I kept putting it back. Like all of my utensils I was putting it on the left side, and she kept switching it back every time we did a take. But I was like, okay, she's doing her job. But that was frustrating the shit out of me because I was being bold by playing a left-handed person in the first place, you know. But those are essential. And to be honest with you, you know how I feel about the sound. If you don't have good sound, you don't have a film. I've always said that. You don't have a film. So I'm glad that you were able to sort of take this veil down, because people get into filmmaking and they don't know anything about these little logistics that puts their shit on YouTube as opposed to Netflix.
Right.
And that is a problem in the independent film market, which, you know, I employ people to go back and get educated at least a little bit to know these kind of things. But I don't think I've ever asked this kind of I'm going to act like I can speak. I don't think that I've asked this kind of question, but so many young filmmakers end up going 2 or 3 films before they even figure this shit out.
Yeah.
You know, and they waste good projects because they didn't have these essentials, you know, didn't know how to shoot outside. It's like crazy. Shooting outside is fucking crazy. And people don't have the proper equipment. They don't know when the clouds are moving. Like, it's a lot that goes into it. So glad that we have somebody with your expertise. And I know that we're rolling up. I do want you to talk a little bit about Mario before we go with our martini shot, which, you know, that's our version of those little 5 questions. You know what I mean? But gotcha. Actors, martini shot, I love it.
Gotcha. Mario. So the Mario project is still in develop. Well, no, I'm sorry. It's completed. It is now currently. I don't know if I can say this. I think I can, but I'm just gonna say it. Right now, it is at Netflix and Paramount. Don't know if they're gonna purchase, but that's where they're looking. That's who's looking at it right now. So the Mario project is based off of the Marlo project is based off of Marlo Stanfield from The Wire. So if you're familiar with The Wire, Marlo's coming, Marlo Stanfield. So Marlo Stanfield is a real person. He's an actual real individual, and that's what the Wire was based off of. Marlo got out of jail, I want to say about 3 years ago, and the guy who's the executive producer on the project, Rudy, found a friend of mine to produce this project. He brought me on to be the director. It's a documentary, but there are scripted scenes that are reenactments. And so he brought me on to direct all the scripted scenes. So that's how I played into this thing. So that project was a huge project, shot up in Baltimore with Marlo Stanfield himself. Met Marlo. I'm cool with him. Learned a lot about that era. The Wire did not tell the true story, and that's all right. You take liberties with stories. That's fine. I'm not David Simon. It's fine by me. Don't get me wrong here. But we told the actual story. But what we did, we kind of went back to see, how did Marlo become Marlo? Like, we went back to his early years. And it was great because I love working with kids, and so I was directing all these children, and I love that work. But we kind of told the story from his humble beginnings on how he got there. And what a lot of people don't know is that organization wasn't just Marlo; it was actually him and his brother. But even more so, what nobody really knows, it was actually him and his brothers and his sisters. That organization was really ran by his sisters, and nobody knows that one. But they are all passed away. The only two that are still alive are Marlo and his brother Timur, who also just got out of jail. So that's that project. It's a slice of life, man. It's real. It's not content for every person. I think people who like The Wire reached a lot of folks. So I think that people are kind of intrigued on who the real Marlo is. So that's what we did. We told that story. Rudy, our EP, is kind of really connected in that world. He knows a lot of folks. He helped Marlo get out of jail. He helped Timur get out of jail. And there is, I'm not going to say his name, but there is a huge drug kingpin from DC who just recently got out of jail. And there's a possibility of telling that story, but I am not going to put that out there. I'm not going to put that man's name out there. But who knows what happens. If Marlo kind of takes off, then maybe we do this project as well. I don't know, but that's kind of what my hands are in right now.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
All right. That's dope.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you're working on that you or actually that you just want to share with the people? Anything else about
my two biggest, well, I have another short that didn't do as well in the festivals, but I do still believe in it. It's called Baby Sister, and it is about their siblings. It's a boy and a girl, and they're twins actually. It's called Baby Sister because she is the baby sister who was 15 minutes younger than her brother, and her brother is an autistic male. And it's her taking care. We get a glimpse of her life taking care of her adult male autistic brother, and so that's what Baby Sister is about. So I am that actually won as well a couple of awards, and I am developing that into either a series or a limited series because I put it out, and what happened, it has a very niche market, and a lot of folks hit me up just privately, and they were like, you may not know I've got a brother, or you may not know my son, and I was just like, there's so many people that, reached out to me, and I was like, wow, this is huge. But it takes a peek into a world that I think that we need to see, and that is the Black community and mental health is something that is not addressed, and we need to address it. And I tried to take a stab at it with this piece, and I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm gonna develop it, and we're gonna win some Emmys. I'm gonna just say that.
All right, I'll receive.
Okay.
And then before where can we? Oh, I was gonna ask where can we find where can we watch your content or?
My Instagram is the best. So I took all my other stuff down. My Instagram it's CETRE_PEGUES.
Okay. All right. Catch him on Instagram. Do you have anything else, Marlon, before we hit the martini?
Oh, yeah, that last movie that you described, I didn't see that one, but it had two of my favorite students in there.
I wasn't
it
in
was really you are hilarious.
I gotta work with I apparently gotta work with her is what you're telling me. I like that.
No, you know what's funny? The crazy thing is you introduced me to her. Then I trained her. No, I'm sorry. Super. She was working with Soup first.
Okay.
Yeah, but I remember when you worked with her on the Otis thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's my homie right there.
Yeah. I'm gonna take it even back. So now you do have someone that you work with on Netflix. That's on the Upshaws. One of the first projects we had done together. 2014, right?
Yeah, that was way back. Yes, Jermel.
Yeah, Romney Ryan. Romney Ryan.
Ryan.
So
yeah,
it's either
gosh, way back. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Jermel Simon.
So Jamel Simon.
Wow.
So
Romney, I forgot all about that project.
man. Yeah. I mean, it knows what the relationships are.
Yes, yes. And also we worked with him on another one that Tamika did.
Yes.
And I can't
Yeah,
remember.
that was the one where I was having the problems with the AD. She was a sweetheart, but I
Say
played
less.
in
I
that
remember.
movie too. Yep,
Remember. Say
yep.
less.
Yeah, that was wild. Shout out to Norfolk. Shout out to Mika. Shout out
Shout out
to Dell. Shout out DC for real. Y'all know what's up. The Burgundy and Gold is back with Jaden Daniels, just in case y'all Bama's forgot about us. Don't get it twisted.
Don't get it twisted.
Don't get it twisted at all. Anyway, I'm going to leave the rest of this up to my beautiful, beautiful, beautiful co-host here. Take it away with those questions because you asked them better than I do.
Okay. All right. All right. So we're going to head into the martini round before we end this interview. And the martini round is I'm just going to ask you 5 questions, and, you just answer them, just whatever you want to say. It's okay. All up to
Fair enough.
Questions. Okay, here we go. So, Cetre, what is your favorite smell?
My favorite smell is probably a good bakery.
Oh, okay. Your favorite vacation spot?
I haven't been there, but I'm sure it's Bora Bora.
Okay. Okay. Now, if you had to choose cats or dogs?
Oh, dogs all day. Dogs.
Okay, I second that. And what is your go-to shoe? Like your go-to shoe that you wear, your favorite comfortable?
My go-to shoe is definitely it's Nikes, man, and it's going to be Air Force Ones or Dunks or mids. Yeah, I wouldn't say comfort, but that's what I'm wearing all the time.
Got it. I wouldn't say comfort either, but they look good.
They look good, yeah. And you can dress them up, you can dress them down. You got all the colors. Yeah, they're fun.
Sure. And then last question: what is your favorite time of year?
My favorite time of year is it's summer, actually. It's because that's when I lose the most weight because I'm always outside. Actually, the truth is that in my older age, it's changing. I kind of like the fall. I do because it's not cold, but it's not like all crazy hot. But you know what it is? It's twofold. I love the summer because I just love the energy of the summer. I'm a DC boy, and that DC energy in the summer is unmatched. It is unmatched. Like we had so much fun. We got in so much trouble. We were popping fire hydrants. We were shooting fireworks when we shouldn't. We did all the wrong stuff. And so I just have these memories of just Haynes Point. I remember all this stuff that we used to do back in DC, just growing up. Like some stuff I can't talk about, but we had so much fun. And I just associate, the most fun times in my life with summertime and, my favorite city, home, DC.
Okay.
Outdoor go-go's. You're right.
Yeah. Man, don't get me started.
It's hot as shit in that black hole, and that's a DC thing. But man, it was so. You're right. In the summertime, you had the go-go's in the field. You had the go-go's in the park. You had go-go's all day. Yeah, man, yeah. And if they started shooting us some shit, you could, you had more exits than the East Side or Chapter 3 or something. Ibex. Shout out to DC. Shout out to
Celebrity Hall.
Celebrity Hall, yeah, man. Tribbles, cherries, man.
Oh my god.
Anyway.
Yeah, we're going back.
That's a DC thing. I won't go on that.
You talking about stuff
that's for another time.
What is a go-go anyway? What is a go-go? A party? What is that?
Oh, you gotta have to teach her.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's a whole nother thing. So real quick.
We need to do a podcast with her and school her. How about that? That's what we need to
do. Go-go is actually the official music of Washington, D.C. It was founded in 1979. It was so go-go is a genre, but Chuck Brown was called the godfather of go-go because D.C. has it's a very particular style. using percussions, the drums, and it has a very distinctive sound to it. So like "Crazy in Love" is a go-go song.
Shout out to my man Rich Harrison. Like, I knew you were gonna say it, so that's my dog. I got to shout out Rich.
Yeah.
Having a go-go, like, but what is that, like having a go-go, like a party? Is that what you mean? Like a party?
Wow.
No.
Wow.
We need to do a podcast, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, so a go-go. Okay, all right. So go-go is music, right?
Yeah.
You would go to the go-go to hear go-go music.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you would go to a venue, and the venue would have a band that plays go-go. So you go to the go-go, man, we're going to the go-go, which is basically going to a spot that has a band that's playing go-go music.
Oh,
and so it's a club. It's usually dark. Everybody fighting. I'm not gonna say that. That's back in the day. I'm not gonna put that bad stuff on the go-go music like that. I love go-go, man.
The lure of it is it's live, which you can't replace. It's live. Right. You can only enjoy it live, and the sound, the liveness, and oh god, I just forgot what I was gonna say on that. There's one more thing about go-go. Call and respond. So that's what's so fun.
Yeah.
Call and respond. It's all night. We sing the songs with the bands. We know them well, but they'll be like, how's everybody feeling tonight? And then, my bad. Let me go to Essence. Tell me what you feel like doing, y'all. Feel like moving that body. Oh, that was Chuck, but so we would that's what made the go-go. And then they would call out your neighborhood.
I was just about to say, I'm about to say, you can't miss that part.
Yeah. Michigan Park is in there. Every time I'll listen to a song, and if they mention Michigan Park or Avondale, I'm like, hell yeah, get hyped. And you knew you were at that go-go because of the go-go date.
Right.
So they said Black Hole or Metro Club, right? And then they would put the date, then you would know that you was at that go-go, and you're more than likely to buy it on the spot because you know you was there. And they play about 6 days a week, 6 or 7 days a week, the best go-go bands. So it's a whole culture.
Marlon, I gotta say, man, I'm disappointed in you, man. How you gonna have a host, man? You ain't school on go-go yet, bro.
I play go-go everywhere that I go.
That's so crazy.
In Atlanta, I just never really played go-go. I played go-go to myself, but I didn't really that's the only area that nobody really knew that I listened to go-go.
Yeah.
Because I would just listen to it amongst myself because, that's wild. But all right, yeah, you got me on that one. You edit that shit out, man.
Let's stay in the interview. But anyway, go ahead and wrap this thing up. Listen, thank y'all for joining us for another interview on Actors Endurance podcast. We podcast for the people. We had a wonderful guest today, Cetre. Thank you for joining us. And yeah, of course. Good luck in all your future endeavors. We're definitely gonna have you back on the show again. Let us know, how your next upcoming film goes, and whatever happens with that. And I'm gonna be in touch too because I might need you going on my new journey. And time I see Marlon, you got to introduce me to go-go, man. I like to dance. Anyway.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. All right. Yeah. All right. For DC's sake, I dropped the ball, but we got Jaden Daniels, man. Y'all need to. This is an election year. I'm making sure that I'm doing my diversions. Yeah. How you divert shit. Political year. I'm diverting all of that lack of go-go shit. Hell to the Redskins, damn it. I'm still politically incorrect.
All day. But thank y'all for joining us, and we'll see you on another Actors Endurance.
Thanks for watching Actors Endurance Podcast, home of the resilient artist. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe.